Welcome back to the channel, guys. Tonight I am not doing the dungeon like I told you I wouldn't yesterday. I did get 180 dust out of it yesterday, and I misplayed pretty huge and didn't know that Josh Dubs could cast Evade with only 15 stamina. And I should have CD'd instead of stamina drained, and I probably would have got to beating my record, I believe. But tonight, since Gold Fever just ended, I figured I would share what I had basically put together in my learning lesson from this Gold Fever. I lost a lot of GPM, as you can see. I didn't finish nowhere near what I expected. I'm basically just a hair over what we did last week. And you may wonder how that's possible, being that I added gold runes since then. But how it's possible is I deleted a lot of pandas, guys. I've probably gotten rid of 12 pandas that had gold runes on them that we were collecting gold from like every hour, and then I also got rid of all of the epics that I had fed to level 90 from the last race and turned them back to cells. I don't have them anymore, so that's really where I think all the GPM went on why I didn't excel farther. But it's much needed that I get rid of the pandas, because the pandas are only able to cap in less than an hour, and I can't stack them up, which means when trying to go for a high GPM, it's not like I can save panda gold to collect a bunch at the start of the event. Whereas if I had just a legend hab with one legend in it in place of a panda hab, I could technically theoretically have up to a mil in just that one habitat that only had one legend. It would have just took longer to fill up, meaning I'd make less gold in an hour, but I'd make more gold in the event. Which isn't exactly my goal. My goal is also to top 5K the feed event. So anyway, I'm going to take you into Lost Jumper's homework session, basically. I've put a lot of time into figuring this out, but what I want to do is I want to crack the stereotype that Team Gold is better than regular gold as long as you have 4 monsters in a habitat. That is not always true, guys. Like, people will tell you that it's anytime you got 4 monsters in a habitat, if you use all team gold, it's better than using gold runes. That's not true at all. There's plenty of instances in legend habitats where it may be true in mythic habitats, other than Mr. Beast, he being the exception to the rule. Because technically, even if you put all the lowest GPM mythics in a hab with a rank 5 mythic, like 3 rank 0s and a rank 5, and you put gold on the rank 5 and team gold on the rest, you have exactly the same amount of gold permitted as you do a team gold on them all. So there's not really any math to be done in the mythics. In the mythics, you can go ahead and keep doing that, meaning if you have 4 in a habitat, just go ahead and team gold them all. But when coming to like habitats where we have Avas or Hyperias or Wickas, where you start getting monsters that have a pretty big GPM gap from the tiny monsters, meaning like a legend can produce 155 GPM or it can produce 364 GPM. It is not the habitat that actually makes the gold permitted, guys. It is the monster that makes the gold permitted. And all the monsters are not created equal. Like I just said, there's a 364 GPM legend, and then there's a 155 GPM legend. 1% of 155 is not the same as 1% of 364. So it makes a huge difference when you just team gold everybody like they're all created equal, and you don't put gold runes on that guy who has an extremely higher GPM, more than double the GPM, and you're just going to tell me that he's equal to the other guy as long as you stick team gold on him? That's nonsense. So I'm going to show you guys the math that I used to break this down and prove my point. Alright guys, so to be doing this, I plan to use level 5 runes for an example. Team Gold 5s give 10% each rune, and then a regular 5 gold gives 30% each rune. And the reason for doing this math isn't because I think you're going to make a ton more gold from it. It's because we're all trying to progress to Team Gold runes, and there's a way to use your gold runes before you actually get all the way to Team Gold runes. Alright, so if you have these monsters, for example, in a habitat, 155 GPM, 3 of them, and then 364 GPM monster. That is the best example where you're going to make the most gold increase by putting all gold on the 364 and then team gold on the rest. But all 3 of those different habitat examples there, is the same way. You should put team gold on the 3 smaller ones and then all gold on the biggest GPM monster because it's more GPM. This is an example of all team gold level 5s, which is 120% boost. So you multiply each monster by 2.2. When doing percents, you have to add a 1. That's why it's 2.2 and not 1.2. And you get 1955.8 GPM from that habitat with all team gold on. Then I'm going to take the exact same habitat and I'm going to put team gold on the first 3 monsters and then all gold on the second one. And then that's going to give you 90% from the team gold going to everybody on the hab, and then the regular gold on the biggest monster is going to give you an additional 90% on just that monster. So you multiply all 3 of the little ones by 1.9, and then you multiply the biggest one by 2.8, and then you add them all together and you get 1990.6 GPM. That is actually more GPM than you got with all team gold. 34.8 extra GPM to be exact, which isn't a whole lot, guys, but the point is, it's like saying that you have a way to use your gold runes that instead of just being like, oh, these gold runes are trash because I got 4 monsters and a hab. No, you can arrange your monsters so that you're getting more value out of your gold runes while you're trying to progress up to team gold on all of your habitats. And then if you do have team gold on all of your habitats, technically you can break down the biggest guy to get more GPM out of him by shoving him with the littlest ones. All of these habitat configurations, it works. And if you notice something similar about all of them, it's that they all have 2 155 monsters in them. So what that told me is I need to be getting my habitats arranged so that all my 155 monsters are put in pairs and then paired with bigger monsters that wear gold runes. Why? So that I can make a huge gap between all of my habitats to get to where I'm progressing to later on. Alright, now if you don't believe any of that math, you can always go back and double check it. That's the cool thing about a video, is you can pause that, guys, and you can see it in slower time if everything was too fast for you. But what that is doing is that is allowing me to know that the way I have my habitats set up currently is not the best way for me to make gold permitted. Like, these monsters being all team gold and crammed together, that's not smart. Technically, I could separate these 4 Avas and go find the monsters that don't make as much gold, like the ones that only make 155 GPM. I think maybe one. Nah, yeah, I'm not sure exactly which all ones make 155 GPM. I think the metal ones are all 244s. But either way, the idea is that I could put, if you look here, like perfect example, I have gold on him. I could be moving those golds to the higher GPM monster and then moving the team golds to the lower GPM monster. That is what I'm trying to prove here, is that the rule of thumb is put team gold on your lowest GPM monsters and regular gold on your higher GPM monsters. And then over the course of time, progress them all to team gold. Meaning not everyone just starts out team gold. And it's also not going to be smart to just go team gold everybody if you only got 2 monsters in a hab or 3 monsters in a hab. You're going to want to put all gold on those monsters that have 2 in a hab and 3 in a hab. And then what do you do with all those gold runes as you're trying to put 4 monsters in a hab? Well, I just showed you guys. You put the gold runes on your higher GPM monsters and you put the team gold on your lower GPM monsters. And you're going to increase your overall GPM. That is the lesson that I learned. It is a huge lesson. Like when coming over here to the nature habs, Wicca is 364 GPM. So that makes a dramatic difference in the nature, because there's nature ones that actually only have 155. So what I need to do is make sure that I have my 364 paired with my low 165s, and then put the gold on my 364 and the team golds on my 155, and I will make more GPM. And if I can spend time doing that across all of my habs, it'll add up, guys. Meaning, like, yes, the biggest gap is if you put 3 155s with a 364, you technically increase your gold instead of having all team gold. If you put the gold on the 364 and just team gold on the 155s, you actually increase that habitat's gold per minute by 77 gold per minute. That's a good bit if you're doing that to like 10 habs. That's 770 gold a minute. Like if you're going to do that to your whatever habs you have a Hyperia for too, instead of just cramming 4 Hyperia in the same habitat and putting team gold on them, which also would make your habitat max out faster. It would be smarter to take each one of those Hyperia and separate them and put them with lower GPM monsters and put team gold on all the lower GPM monsters and then put gold on the Hyperia. And you do that across as many halves as you can, and you will exponentially reap the growth while trying to get all of your habs to level 4. Like taking myself for example, I did this math to help myself. So if it helps me, it's going to help you guys. Currently, I have not even had a chance to apply this new knowledge to my own habitats. I just discovered it by doing all the math the past couple of days. So in the future, I can actually like apply it to my habs. Where it comes in handy though is I'm not going to have 4 monsters in a habitat on all of my habitats for probably months, guys, months. Meaning I'm still leveling habs. These have 2 monsters in it. I'm working on trying to get 3 in there. So if I'm still working on trying to get 3 monsters in habs, or trying to get 2 monsters in habs, or trying to get rid of pandas to put 1 monster in a hab, does that mean I should be making all team gold runes? Because, hey, one day you're going to have 4 and a half and they're all going to be making you gold. Yeah, well, saying one day means every day until that one day I'm losing out on more potential GPM because I'm putting team gold runes where they don't belong and putting gold runes where they don't belong. Whereas the easiest way to avoid math and start making it work for you is put team gold on your lowest GPM monsters, put gold on your highest GPM monsters. Always try to keep monsters one of 2 ways in a habitat. Either all around the same GPM or extremely low guys with extremely high guys. Meaning if you got 155 and a 155 and a 244 and a 364, you would still put the team golds on the lower ones and gold on the higher ones. If you actually had like mythics in a hab, they're basically going to come down to how many mythics do you have in a hab. Meaning if you only have 1, 2, or 3 in a hab, you probably want gold on all of them. And then as you get that 4th monster that comes in there, you probably want team gold on all of them, because the only way that you would not want team gold on all 4 of those monsters in a mythic habitat would be if 3 of them were ranked 0 and 1 of them was a ranked Mr. Beast, or if 3 of them were ranked 0 and 1 of them was a max rank 5. And even if it was ranked 5, it's only going to make you the exact same GPM as if they all were team gold. So the idea there is you would be converting your gold runes to team gold runes for your mythics. And it's a stepping process, meaning whichever ones you had regular golds on, you would move to a monster that was by himself in a habitat. This is going to matter because if we're making a 30 GPM jump on a habitat and we're doing that to 90 habs, which is how many habs I can potentially have, or 50 habs, I'm increasing plenty, and at the same time I'm increasing plenty, I'm making use out of runes that other people told me were useless or a waste, meaning why are you making all those gold runes when you're just going to have to change them to team gold later? Eventually, yes, most of them will be team golds, but to just make them all team golds now would mean I'd be losing out on so much GPM. So I'm not going to do that. And then it brings me down to monsters like I have here. I have 155 monsters just chilling by themselves. Why? Because I had no idea that they were worth more to me when paired with a higher monster like a 335. And yeah, like the fact that these light boosts and metal boosts can reach the same habs in the middle means I could take these 155 light monsters and pair them with these 335 metal monsters and be putting team golds on my 155s and regular golds on my 335s instead of having all my 335s in one hab with team gold. It may sound confusing at first, guys, but you can go back and do the math and check it. It's going to help in the long run. Every single bit helps when you're free to play and you're trying to increase your GPM. And we're not talking about just minutes and hours. We're talking about months, guys. We're talking about before I have 4 monsters in all of my habitats sitting on Team Gold runes a year from now. Meaning over the course of that year, I would like to be maximizing the GPM that I can make, not realizing that I have GPM going to waste because I stuffed it all in the same habitat with Team Golds and was like, yeah, this habitat's done, check it off the list, now I can go do the other 90 habs I got to do. Yeah, it's totally dumb. I need to separate these Avas. I should only have one Ava in a habitat, and then the Ava should be the highest GPM in the habitat, and all three of the other monsters should be lower than the Ava, and then they should all wear Team Gold. My Ava should wear Gold, and then that allows me to be able to find use for those Gold runes that I was thinking had to be Team Gold or they were going to be a waste one day. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm at on this past Gold Fever. That's what I've taken away from this Gold Fever. I like to be able to learn every week on how to get this GPM up, guys. We only went up 2 mils, so I was upset. So I guess that's why I dug in deep and looked for reasons to find out, like, how can I make my gold go up? That is really where the problem even started in this game. Was like people would tell you don't do adventure map because your quests will get harder. They'll tell you that these quests that you daily quests, you'll have to feed more food, you'll have to farm more gold, you'll have to blah 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 blah. Yeah, well, the end game goal is to top 5k all those events, and no matter what level you are, none of those quests are going to get you or be harder than the quest of making top 5k. So to me, level up as fast as you can. And then I started to ask myself, what is the problem? Why can't I do the quest? Is the answer that I need to stop leveling up? No, the answer is you need to start making more gold. And then that's where I basically apply the same exact questioning to this gold permitted event of trying to get to top 5k. Every week I got to ask myself, what can I do to make my gold production more? Whether it been changing my islands around, which we went to Monster Legend Guides Discord, and they have screenshots of all of the islands, and they even have the islands mapped out with graphs that show you the boosted spaces so that you know exactly how many boosted spaces you can have, etc. Now, like an example would be like how I have my islands set up right now. They're not perfect, guys. How do I know they're not perfect? Because not even every single element produces 305 GPM legends, meaning take light for example. Light does not have any 305 GPM legends, meaning no matter what, you're not going to be making as much gold from your light habitats as you're going to be able to make from your earth habitats once you start farming Hyperias that make 364 GPM and are in the woods every other time, it feels like. So theoretically, you shouldn't be having your light island where you could be having something that makes more, meaning you should have your light island on something smaller since there's not as many there's not going to be any 305s, meaning there's not going to be as many habitats that need boosted as the ones that do have 305. So that'll definitely come in, whereas like if I could get a bunch of Avas going or get a bunch of Earths going, or even get a bunch of magics going, whichever one I can eventually get the most of, I'm probably going to make the center island just that element. Why? So that I can put my 4 boosts like dead in the middle and then put as many habs around that one boost as I can. Whereas currently in the middle I've got habs overlapping, meaning like I just said earlier, the one in the middle is getting boosted from metal and getting boosted from light. Obviously that is a waste of both boosts, because the light boost is not boosting those metal guys that it's next to, and the metal boost is not boosting the light guys that it's next to. So it's overlapping, and every one of them that's overlapping is subtraction, not addition. So it's not correct to put 2 different elements in the center like this. That is just a goalpost for getting started at making more GPM. Meaning, as is, I needed more space to work with getting these pandas out of here. And I've also just this Gold Fever have realized that if my biggest problem with pandas is that they cap too fast, why am I worried about having pandas next to boosts in the first place? Meaning these boosted pandas need to get moved to islands that aren't boosted, and I need to be working on getting legend habs next to those boosts. I need to be doing that this week before the next gold event comes, meaning I don't need any boosted pandas. Pandas can sit over on a random island like they're doing right here. Why? Because it'll take them longer to fill up then, which is good. Whereas whatever's sitting in their place could be one legend that's collecting, you know, a 40% boost over the whole night while I sleep, making a dramatic difference. especially all those hours that you're not collecting every hour and the pandas are capped. Well, if my panda's capped while I'm snoozing, what's it doing next to a 40% boost? That boost is going to waste if the panda's capped and I'm asleep and I'm not waking up to collect it. There could have been a legend there that wasn't capped that's still reaping the 40% boost all night while I sleep. Guys, I'm just trying to show you that it's the small things that matter when you're talking about something that time is of the essence. Because little teeny crumbs, like a grain of sand, isn't much. But till you walk out on the beach and there's bazillions of them, okay? That's when it's much. And that's the same thing as seconds in my day, meaning if every second there's a way to be making one more gold, why am I not doing it? It's called negligence to not increase my GPM, even if it's 1 GPM a second. That is still the right principle to be doing. And people can maybe add on to this and figure out, if there's even more sophisticated ways to increase GPM. Please let me know. I am nowhere near close to perfect GPM. I am just trying to be better at collecting gold than I was yesterday, and I want to keep doing that every day and then check back in 6 months and be like, wow, look at how every one of those sand grains added up over that 6 months, and now we're looking at a fistful of sand instead of, a little grain. And that's what I want to leave you guys with, guys, is don't ever take what people tell you as, oh, it's absolute. Meaning if somebody tells you, hey man, put team gold on everything, that's always the best, blah 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 blah. Don't just take everybody's word for things. Stop and question, because I was taking everybody's word on it for a long time. And then I just scratched my head and was like, why? Wait a minute here. Now when I come over here, this is only a 3-hab. This is only a 3-hab. Meaning technically they should all be wearing just gold runes. Why do I have team gold runes on them? I don't know, because I'm trying to work towards having team gold runes on everybody. Okay, well, trying to work towards team gold runes on everybody has me currently losing GPM at this moment in time that we speak right now, because it's not correct to have team gold on these guys. So what can I do to make up for it? Well, I could come here and I could change this 305 to a gold rune. I could change the 244s to a gold rune and put team gold on the lowest, basically meaning if I can find somebody who's lower than 244 GPM, which I don't think so. Yes, like this guy right here. He should have all team gold on, and then I should pair him with a 305 that has all gold on. Like, it's going to take me a long time to move these runes around, guys, but I'm telling you right now that I think just changing certain monsters from gold to team gold and changing other monsters from gold to team gold is going to make a dramatic difference for the next Gold Fever. So hopefully you guys can check in next Gold Fever and see if we made anything. Tomorrow you can look forward to me going back to doing the gauntlet, I think. Currently we're ranking, or actually I think we're still crafting. Yeah, we have 5 hours and 40 left on Manny, and then I will get to open up his chest for the Rune Lords event, which is here. Since I crafted a 10, or actually flipped a 10, but it's late by a couple of hours, we could get hiccuped on whether or not we're easily able to make top 5k, and if that does become the case, we're going to open up one of the book rewards that we'll be getting from this book way over here. We're going to currently have all of these monsters as soon as he's done crafting. I will open up one of them chests to push me into the top 5k, but then I'm going to save the other one, and I'm going to save all of these 4 and all of these 6 and try to open them all up on one Rune Lords and hope that we can maybe, like, I think, what is it, top 500 that pays you the next set of gems instead of, yeah. And we're going to try and top 500 one of these events. And then we can try to change some of those runes around. My theory is that I want to get some speed 9s for Kodama, and basically I will take any team runes that I get and I will try to turn them into 10 speeds. That way if they fail, I will get a 9 speed, which is what I'm really looking for, or I will get 8s, which I'm not looking for. And then if they succeed and they do become 10 speeds, I'll change them to strength or life, and then we will eventually work on mutating strength and life, or strength and stamina, or, life and stamina, however it works. But I would rather have mutated 10s before having 10 speeds, and I would rather have mutated 9 speeds before having 10 speeds. So that's how I feel about that. And as a free to play, I think it's the best way for me to save my rune resources. I understand that 9s are hard to get, but it makes it a lot easier when you're opening up 12 chests of them. So anyway, guys, tune in tomorrow for some new content. If you have any comments on what I learned about gold farming, please leave it in the comments, man. I'm always looking for advice, too. If you have any advice on what I can do to step it up from what you've been seeing me do, if you haven't heard me mention it in one of my previous videos, please drop that in the comments, too, guys. All the help I can get to raising that GPM would be well worth it. I think as many pandas as we got rid of this time, even if we get rid of more pandas, I don't think we're going to see a drop in the next gold fever. I think we're going to see a raise no matter what I do with the pandas. So anyway, guys, later.